Yeah, my name is Alan Weber. We're here in northern Pettis County on our farm, a diversified crop and livestock operation. I have a cow-calf operation and then primarily a corn-soybean rotation. Full-time position, I'm a partner at Mark IV. Mark IV is a consulting company based here in Missouri, and we work primarily to help commercialize industrial products which are made from agricultural materials and hopefully those that benefit the environment as well. One of the reasons that I was initially attracted to the use of cover crops was actually for weed resistance or for being able to decrease our dependence in terms of herbicides. It's been more than 10 years ago actually when I first started using cover crops. At that point in time we were using red clover and cereal rye. And cereal rye we were trying to take advantage of the allelopathic effects in terms of the following crops. So I actually had a small grant from the state of Missouri from the Department of Agriculture to look at a control versus the use of cereal rye. And we took weed stand counts in terms of that control, and we definitely found that anywhere that we had used cereal rye, that the weed populations, specifically the summer annuals like pigweed and waterhemp, were significantly reduced. So that was actually my original reason for wanting to use cover crops. But now, after several years of use, I've kind of pivoted to the point where more looking at ways to be able to increase soil organic matter and thus water holding capacity. So we're in a position here geographically where many times we're short of water in July and August, and being able to have a little bit more water holding capacity could benefit us significantly in terms of the economics. So on our operation, we've actually used four types of seeding. So we've tried aerial seeding. We've actually used a Kinsley split row planter. We've used a Great Plains no-till drill, and then we've also used a combination of vertical till and a pendulum spreader. Primarily right now, we're using a vertical till tool and a pendulum spreader, and we've seen very good results with that. Typically what we would do is after harvesting corn, we would run the stalks with a vertical till tool and then come straight back with a spreader. Typically with rye, we're looking at 40 to 45 pounds per acre is the seeding rate, just enough to be able to hold the soil, and it also provides us some nice grazing potential, which is important to our operation to be able to extend our grazing season. Yeah, there's two or three things that we believe are impacting our bottom line with the use of cover crops. Probably the most significant has been the ability to be able to extend our grazing into the fall and then also into the spring. So our operation, one of the interesting things about cover crops, which I believe, is that when you first try a cover crop, you should fit it into your existing management structure. And then after you gain some experience with the cover crop, you might want to then tweak your management style, which is what we've done. So at this point in time, we actually plant a little bit of short season corn, so 102-day corn every year, with a specific intent that that corn would be shelled early enough to be able to get a cover crop, whether that might be something like winter canola or whether it be cereal rye, to get enough biomass in the fall that we can actually for sure have some fall grazing. Otherwise, you're not necessarily 100% guaranteed that you'll have some fall grazing, and you might have to go to spring grazing. But in our operation, it's been crucial. We've been able to cut back on the amount of hay that's been fed, and we estimate on our farm at least that we're saving probably somewhere between $35 to $50 an acre in terms of the amount of hay that's saved, depending upon whether you can just spring graze or whether you can fall and spring graze. Now that's the primary economic benefit that we think that we get. At the same point in time, though, that we are starting to see some Roundup resistant weeds, specifically mare's tail, and then of course we have some issues with pigweed and water hemp. One of the things that we specifically like about cereal rye is where we have rye in the field, we don't necessarily see mare's tail in the spring. And so that's been a benefit for us in terms of the resistance of weeds. And the third thing is just, and this is variable depending upon the year, but it can allow us to be able to cut back on terms of herbicide use. So each and every year we move into the season assuming that we're going to spray a full burn down as well as a post-emerge spray. But then depending upon the actual year and the weed pressure that we're facing, we might be able to scale back in terms of the herbicides and the chemistry that we're using.